Welcome back to another episode of Local Search Tuesdays. A few weeks ago, I was in Austin for the first Pubcon since COVID happened, so this week I'm sharing tips from all the speakers. If you've been watching this series for long at all, you know I love to grab speakers and friends at conferences to share quick tips. Since this was the first time I've seen most of these people since 2020, there was no way I was going to miss the opportunity to grab as many people as I could and have them share something awesome. It's a ridiculously awesome list of tips, so let's get to it.
Here's my quick tip for this, okay? It's going to be a slide storm of information coming your way over the next few months around AI. It's already started, you're already aware of it. My best advice to you, don't panic, don't worry about it. People aren't losing jobs immediately. There are going to be great opportunities with this. This technology is going to streamline operations. It's going to help you solve problems, get over writer's block. All of these crazy things are going to be great. So don't fear what's happening right now. Play with it, use it, discover new ways to do the work you did before in more efficient ways. That's my tip for you guys.
So lots of people are worried about the future of search with AI and taking search volume away in clicks. I don't think it's going to be a zero-click world. I think the future of search is verbs, meaning users are trying to do something, and as long as you understand that intent of what users are trying to do, AI can never take that search away from you. They'll always come to you looking to help them accomplish that task.
So whenever you're looking at a new tool, especially something new and exciting like ChatGPT or any AI writing tool, make sure that you absolutely test it. Make sure that it makes sense for your organization, the company that you're working for, and that it's implementable within a realistic timeline and scales with what you are trying to do.
My tip, AI is the big thing going on right now, AI chat. It's a tool, and just like a hammer is a tool, you can build a house up with it, or you can tear a house down. So be careful how you use that tool.
So Pubcon, by the way, amazing, fantastic. Pubcon is back. I can officially say that. We had almost, 500 people here, something like that. Speaking was great. So the biggest tip I think that we probably got out of this is that, and Brett said this during his keynote, was ChatGPT is not going to replace SEOs. ChatGPT is going to empower somebody else to replace you. So what does that mean? That means figure out how to use either Bing Chat or ChatGPT, how to enhance what you're doing, not replace what you're doing. Maybe coming up with blog titles, description for your GBP, services, whatever the case may be. It can be used to do some of the mundane types of tasks. On top of that, ChatGPT can be used for GPT and reviews in certain ways. One I'm going to recommend, one I'm definitely not going to recommend. But that is if you want help writing a review response, you can use ChatGPT or Bing to help write you a review response. The best way to do that is say, write me a human response to a review left by name, noise, and for X company, and then paste the actual review copy. It'll write the review response, and then what you do is you go ahead and you authentically take out of that review response what you would actually say. And if you do that, you're augmenting what ChatGPT and AI has basically written at this point. This will help protect you, and in the future, protect you from Google actually removing it, because if it was to detect it as AI. The other thing is ChatGPT is actually good at writing reviews, but I would never, ever recommend your customers leaving your reviews or you prompting them to leave a review written by ChatGPT. Anyway, that's the fun stuff of this. Thanks.
All right, when we're optimizing for generative AI models, what you're going to want to make sure you're doing is thinking of what content and what concepts are going to be on a page, remembering that what the generative model is looking at is what is it produced and then what is the next thing. So what you need to do is make sure that make sure the model recognizes you as the next thing, or your concept or product as the next thing. Make sure that you're existing not just on your site, but on top authoritative sites. So basically making sure your content is on the web and you don't need to care about the links anymore.
For years, I've been talking about not creating islands of schema. Well, guess what? Chatbots, AI, machine learning needs connected schema. It needs the connected schema that makes a knowledge graph. So find the relationships and connect your schema.
Okay, I'm standing right here. 2 years ago, you asked me same place, same location, same question. Slightly different answers this time. Ready? I've grown as a person. Yes, AI is important. Yes, AI is growing. What marketers have to approach as they consider AI is really they have to understand a lot of the flaws and operations and how AI is powering their ads so that when they trust Google to automate these pieces for them, that they're understanding exactly what they're signing up for and go and correct it, guide them with their human, with their marketing brains, and make this better for them.
All right, my tip, because this is quick, dirty, let's get it done, Pubcon Austin, is to check all of your assumptions at the door. Every single change we have experienced has made all of our preconceptions go out the window. So if you hated search with display select or display expansion, test it with image assets to see if it performs better than PMAX. If you hated certain types of content plays, test them because they might now be the path to profit and victory. So make this the year of tests, and I can't wait to see you all at the next conference. Cheers, guys.
All right, so I uploaded a video on TikTok that was a comedy bit that I did on stage, and I removed the laughter from the bit. So it took a few seconds off the video, and instead of getting 7,000 views the first time I uploaded it, after I removed the laughter, it got 2 million views. So there's my tip.
So events are typically one of the 2 largest items in a marketing budget, but very little is spent digitally around an event. Think about buying event names on Google for the events you're going to, and also the ones you can't afford to go to, and create a digital experience months before the event. Have an offer, have a landing page, maybe a discount code for the event, and then retarget those folks for months before the actual event. Spend 10% of your event budget digitally.
Take a look at all of the content that you produced, on-site, off-site, whatever, and see if you can localize it. Because if you're going to pitch it to anybody or try to promote it again, if there's any sort of local data you can include or any way you can adjust the pitch or the angle, you can get a ton more traction if you're able to do that. So if it's by state, country even, but hopefully state, city, or zip, a lot more people will be interested because they care about what's near them, not necessarily what's national.
So today I talked about SEO by using heat map to analyze user behavior. So usually heat map is used for CRO, conversion rate optimization, but I definitely recommend using heat map for SEO too. Yep.
Hey, you have content? Most people do. Most people have a lot of content. You've probably heard of things like the helpful content update, which penalize you if you have really bad content. Here's the thing though, not all content that isn't generating traffic is bad quality content, and we want to make sure that you're not no indexing or deleting content that's doing incredibly well on non-Google channels. So make sure that you're going into your Search Console and sorting that by the last 16 months of data, specifically to look at the clicks and the queries to see if you're getting traffic for those pages. If you're not getting traffic, we want to, of course, revitalize the content first. No index necessarily if it's non-seasonal, or we're going to get to it later. But deletion should honestly be the very last thing you think about unless you know that the content no longer aligns with your goals, it's incredibly poor, or we cannot reuse the URL for someone else. There you go.
Everyone's having issues with their content being indexed or not indexed these days. It's usually going to come down to either a duplication issue or your content's just really not all that great.
All right. I think it's really important for marketers to understand the difference between how your site renders on the browser versus looking at the page source, also looking at the DOM. So one of the tips that I highly recommend people to do is look at your pages, not just in the browser. Look at the page source and also go in and right-click and hit inspect and take a look at how your site renders in that particular mode, because what you'll find out oftentimes is you're requiring users to click on something to reveal some text on your page. Google doesn't have fingers, it can't click anything, therefore you're preventing Google from seeing your content. So I think it's really important to do that as you're developing your site.
Everyone knows GA4 is coming soon, right? We're T-minus what, 4 months, 5 months, something like that. A lot of companies have got it installed, but they haven't looked at it since then. They've just kept looking at Universal, which I understand. Start looking at GA4 stuff right now because there's a lot of additional setup that you probably didn't do yet. So you want to be ready when that cutover happens.
Hi, this is Elmer. Elmer's leadership lesson. First of all, leadership and management are not the same thing. You manage things like budgets, you lead people. It's an important differentiation. As a leader, it's important for you to empower the people that are on your team. You can't do everything yourself. You got to give them a chance to do some stuff. And sometimes you just got to look them in the eye and say, you are empowered to do this. And that way, there's no question about it. They know exactly what they need to do.
A good tip for local businesses, if you want to find out if your competitors are paying attention to their Google business profile, start answering questions and in a diplomatic way, see if the business removes them.
Encourage reviewers to add a video to their review to make sure that it stays at the top of the pile for maximum SEO benefits.
Thanks for sticking around to watch all of those tips. They were awesome, weren't they? That's definitely all the time we've got left for this week's episode. So you know what that means. Put your hand on the screen right here. We totally just high-fived because you learned something awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Local Search Tuesdays.